Hey, hello my friends, here we are, it's Chat with Matt, a little bit high, not that sort of high, it's Chat with Matt, it's whatever it is, it's the 2nd of October here in New Zealand, 2019, I think it's like Chat with Matt number 39, I haven't put a tag on this because I was running out of time. Hey Sister Jen Burns, I am open, I haven't actually looked, but I better, but yeah, if you've got a question, ask. Here to answer questions, here to facilitate space, not just with information, but with energy. Here to share energy, here to create space. Yeah, nothing much written in. Sylvie wrote in without really a question, just talking about how, cycles flow. So to start with, while we'll wait for someone to type something in to stimulate some deeper conversation, more attuned to what you guys want to know, I'll talk a little bit about what's going on for me. Been a very interesting time. Bali was interesting. Getting home from Bali's been interesting. We ran a retreat this weekend, which was like a week. Less than a week. We got back from Bali on the Saturday afternoon. We ran a retreat starting on the Friday afternoon, just here locally, up the road, half an hour up the road in Otaki Forks, Otaki River. Just a weekend retreat. Again, it was awesome. We've done this same retreat on basically the same weekend now 5 years in a row. And it's getting better and better every year, and people are going deeper. And, we were having conversations on the first night that we usually have on the last afternoon. So it was kind of legitimate. On the welcome circle, we were talking about stuff that we normally talk about in this closing circle. So that's really, really exciting and really, really satisfying in so many ways. And interestingly, it stimulated another big release in me Monday. And yesterday, Tuesday, here in New Zealand, I had a shocker. And yesterday afternoon, I've put my back out as well, which is kind of funny. It's better this morning. It's come out of spasm, but it's still quite a bit sore. Just doing something very, very simple, which I do all the time, and you wouldn't expect to put your back out doing it. It's just that energy shifting in my body, that supported energy, that appreciated energy, that feeling safe and secure and nurtured energy that all come rushing up. And it seems to do it for me, like it did it in Bali as well, in between our two retreats, which wasn't the ideal time really for me personally. Egoically, definitely not the ideal time. But it tends to happen for me when I'm receiving a lot of appreciation, when I'm actually doing really well and people are recognizing me and thanking me for what I'm doing. It triggers a whole heap of anti-that, right? It's amazing to me. Like, I can sit back now and just think how crazy it is and how farcical it is that somehow when I receive a lot of appreciation, a lot of not appreciated comes up from within me, and my mind is twisted enough to be able to find a reason for making it true. It does. It just finds a reason in the moment to make it true. Which is a pain, right? Because, what I continually tell people is to notice your emotions and stuff as they come up and remember that it's a release. And yet I am not doing a very good job at doing that when it gets super intense. And with particular issues for me, which is this friggin' not good enough, not supported, not appreciated. Yeah, not good enough and not appreciated is the main ones. And then not supported kind of rolls in with that. So, but onwards and upwards, we move forward. We keep picking ourselves up and moving forward. So what happened, yesterday was I came up with all of this unappreciated and unworthy to be appreciated bullshit. And Marie actually stepped up and really supported me more than she's ever supported me before going through that. And then several hours later, my back went out as a kind of a protest, towards that maybe you're not worthy to receive that amount of support. Funny, but not funny. Anyway, so that's what's been going on for me. This morning I'm up and about and taking it easy with my back, and I've done my meditation and my journaling and onwards we move, right? I've got heaps and heaps of exciting stuff unfolding, moving forward for getting a new free gift, lead magnet out to attract people towards my Bright Light Client Attraction process. That free gift is going to be very, very valuable to many, many people. It comes with a light language session as well. I'm going to try and for some reason, maybe I need to pull a little bit of this over so I'm not in so much glare. Anyway, Jen, so Mike and I decided to go separate ways as it was clear he did not have the willingness to have the kind of relation. Come on, see more. Here we go. Kind of relationship. Whoop. Kind of relationship I was wanting with him, which was fine. But then he sabotaged any other kind of relationship by immediately saying unkind things to me. Okay, I'll read on before I start talking to that. By saying unkind things to me, sharing judgments he had against me, etc., and then stopped talking to me and never apologized. I know that I'm going to see him in the future and having a hard time letting go of the anger I have against him in the moment. Yeah, cool. So, first and foremost, I just want to talk to this word. He then sabotaged any other kind of relationship, because he hasn't really, Jen. He hasn't really sabotaged any other kind of relationship. To sabotage any other kind of relationship, he would have to basically go around and see anyone else that you were willing to have a relationship with, or in the you know, who wanted to have a relationship with you, and tell them not to because, you know, whatever. Right? But he didn't do that. He basically said some words to you that triggered you. So that's not exactly him sabotaging any kind of relationship. That's actually triggering you to release energies within you that is going to serve you to have better relationships in the future. So he's actually helping you. Oh, a relationship with him. Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay. He's obviously, Jen, he's obviously intimidated by you in some way. He's scared of you. He's scared of the relationship he could have with you. That's just where he's at. And so, yeah, he wanted to, you know, get out of there and burn the boat, so he never went back. So that's what he did. So that's okay. Move on. Move on from Mike. And just accept, right, the anger that you have against him. Just accept that he's not in the space to have a relationship with you. So that's, you know, the anger. So just remember what anger is. Anger is generally arises when a perceived need is not being met. So you have to have a look at why you feel on some level that you need to have a relationship with this person. Because for the anger to arise, it has to be something that you're perceiving as a need, not just a desire, not just a want, but something that's, you know, for anger to arise, it basically arises because your survival is being jeopardized. And so somewhere in your field, you feel that having a relationship with Mike is imperative to your survival. Now, I know on an egoic level, on an intellectual level, you understand that's not the truth, but on a deeper energetic level, there's something going on around this. And understand that Mike is just Mike, but you've put a picture on him. He obviously resonated at a level or inspired a level of connection within you that you hadn't felt before, or felt that you, on some level, you feel you can't get somewhere else. And you know that that's a lie and it's not the truth. So your job is to rationally talk to yourself and realize that these triggers are not a bad thing. Even though it's uncomfortable and even though it's inspired anger and all of the rest of it, it's okay. And expecting him to apologize, you know, is basically putting him on a pedestal where he's not, right? He's obviously not there yet. He's got a lot of his little boy running, and he's basically not able to commit to you, right? He's too scared to commit to you. You know, so I'll get onto that, Jenny. Yeah, and so I remember right at the start when you first, when Mike first basically said he can't do it or he pulled out or whatever, and there was this, and his suggestion was, or I think, that you have a friendship, a platonic relationship, and you were unsure at the time, but you decided to give it a go, and so if he can't handle that, he's gonna pull the plug on that, right? Because maybe having you as a friend is too triggering for him. So that's okay. That's okay. You just need to let him go. You just need to let him go and understand that his actions, his unkind words were basically him trying to protect himself. He doesn't really think that you're a bad person. Not at all. He's just trying to justify in his own mind why he can't commit to you, which is basically fear. But he doesn't want to admit that he's scared, so he tries to basically make you out to be a bad, wrong person, and therefore that justifies him in his mind for not being able to have a relationship with you, right? That's how people work. That's how we all work. I've noticed it in myself very much, that when I'm struggling to step up into a bigger version of myself, that I find a good reason for my ego why that's not possible, and then I blame that, right? That's the reason I can't step up, not the fact that I'm scared to, not the fact that I'm, not strong enough to step through the resistance, the fact that something else is making me the victim. That's how we work on an egoic level. I think all humans do that to a degree, and it's just the degree to which we do it and to the awareness that which we bring to that very human mechanism, right? There's blaming other things to get ourselves off the hook of actually facing our own shit. That's it's just a continuum of level of awareness, and of course we all roller coaster on that continuum of how much awareness we have in any particular moment, and some things we're quite good at recognizing, some areas of our life we tend to be better at working. Some people work better with their business world, some people work better in their personal relationships, some people work better with their health and their relationship with their own body, but we're all different. And we tend to have areas where we're a bit stronger and a bit weaker. And when we're working with an area where we're a bit weaker, and when we, get the intensity of a situation is high enough, then we tend to revert to very, very primal 3-year-old behavior, right? We throw tantrums, we blame everything other than ourselves, and we feel like a victim. Very, very human thing to do. So, yeah, that's it, Jen. Take some deep breaths, relax, and allow it all just to subside. Allow yourself to see the anger and be compassionate with yourself that you are disappointed with his behavior, because you do obviously care a lot for Mike, and it hurts when you see someone we care for revert to 3-year-old behavior and basically sabotage what could be a very sustaining and nurturing relationship on whatever level that might be. But for now, obviously, he's made his inadequacies very known. Yeah, okay, so that's great. So a part of me is tired of being compassionate, but being non-compassionate is not going to help you, and being compassionate does not also means not cutting him some slack. So what have you got to lose by being compassionate, or what have you got to gain by being non-compassionate, angry and judgmental back towards him? That's the point, right? What do you gain by being by making him wrong, right? Because all compassion is understanding where he's coming from, and it doesn't mean having to make allowances for him in terms of what actions you take, because I think it's very clear at this stage you basically just drop him like a hot potato or a sack of shit, as the analogy might go, drop him like a sack of shit and move on, right? And just move on and just give him space, cut him loose, cut him off, right? You don't need to get angry on him and then try and hurt him back. That's not going to help you, right? So compassion is basically just cutting your losses at this stage and not perpetuating the pain cycle by wanting to prove anything to him or punish him for what he's done or anything like that. Compassion is just going, well, he's obviously not up to the task. He's obviously not a good match for me at this stage. He obviously, can't cope with a relationship with me, and I understand that at a level, right? I have compassion for that he's not, working with his stuff well enough, and so goodbye, Mike, right? That's compassion, not anything else, not you reaching out and trying to make it better. That's self-sacrifice at this stage. So don't do that. Just compassionate to yourself more above all, right? That's where the compassion needs to come in. Compassionate to yourself, not to perpetuate this pain cycle, and to basically allow yourself to forget him on the surface level, right? For now. And to move on to other options you've got, and plenty of other potentials. And so you breathe and relax and progress, right? That's it. Okay, Jenny also wrote in, as opposed to Jen. Hi, I'm also going through the process of separating and want to have a conversation with Ian, but cannot bring myself to tell him I am going, as I don't want to hurt him. But we are really, with a K, over Rilke over. That's okay. I'm in allowance of typos. being completely inept on a keyboard myself. So Jenny, basically, sister, you have to have that conversation, because to not have the conversation is going to hurt him more. Your job is to really find a deep level of clarity and emotional neutrality to have that conversation in an empowered way, right? To lay out the reasons why you are really over, and why it's for both of your best good that you separate, right? Find space so that whatever needs to happen can happen. Because, if you are sure that staying in a relationship is not going to be for any of your either of your highest and best good, and basically it has to be for both of your highest and best good for it to be good for either of your highest and best goods, right? Because it never works one way. No one sacrificing themselves will ever serve someone else at the highest level. So that's it. Clear, honest communication is always the best way. And, and be open to things shifting as you have the conversation, because sometimes your decision that it's over, and I'm talking off the cuff here because I don't know you, I don't know your situation, I don't know Ian, I don't know anything that's going on, but I do know from my own experience that sometimes when we go into a conversation thinking we know what the outcome's going to be, after having the conversation, things have shifted for both of us. So that's the point. If you really feel that you're separating and that it's the highest and best good, then you have to have that conversation, because the conversation is the way forward. And to try and, save his feelings by telling him some white lie or some, making excuses or trying to get out of it easily, quote unquote, easy for your ego, never serves. That never serves anyone. Honest, open, truthful communication is going to serve him, and it's going to serve you, and it's going to bring clarity to the situation in either way, right? Either way, either you are going to be very sure that you are doing the right thing and he's going to understand at a level why you're doing it, or things might shift and you might be willing to reconsider. But the only way forward is to have that conversation, because trying to, just sneak away in the night is not going to work. You are welcome, Jen Burns. Yeah. Okay, Jenny. So yeah, you've been really disconnected for years. So yeah, one of the ways of reconnecting is to be willing to have this conversation, right? That's first and foremost. Reconnection has to happen through having good, honest communication. And so be willing to do that, right? Be willing to do that, even if it's the last conversation you ever have, which I doubt, because even if you do separate, there's no reason why you can't keep communicating. But, connection is everything. So I understand it's incredibly easy to allow relationships to fall into cohabitation without proper connection. It's just very easy for us to get into protection mechanisms egoically and emotionally, where we coexist without touching, without learning how to not to touch our wounds terribly much. And while while that's kind of easy on a level, it doesn't satisfy us in our need for a proper relationship. That real need to be understood and supported and loved and cared for that we're looking for, right? Not on a not in a poor me sort of a way, but in a real connection sort of a way, that soul connection, the deeper connection, that depth of connection. Just still scrolling down. Yeah, so if he's walked out of relationship counselling, then, how committed is he to maintaining the relationship? And if he's not committed to maintaining the relationship, then, you need to separate. So have that conversation. Tell him why you are, not willing to go on with this, and keep moving forward. Well, for some reason, my thing's not scrolling without me putting my hand up there. Yeah. So that's it, Jenny. It's very, very obvious. If he's not willing to follow any of, the counselling advice, then, you've got just grounds. You don't need to justify. You don't need to justify your reason anyway. If you feel that the best thing to do is to separate, then you just need to explain that you're going to separate, and that's it, right? So, God, my Gojek is trying to tell me something in Bahasa Indonesian. Gojek is like Uber in Indonesia, but it's usually on mopeds. You can get a car as well. But anyway, so yeah, I've got the app on my phone for when I'm in Bali to jump on the back of a scooter and go somewhere. But it keeps giving you messages in Indonesian, which is not much good because I can't read Indonesian many better than I can speak it. Anywho, oh my goodness, I can see that a little thing comes up, but it's not scrolling by itself. Anywho, so yes, Jenny, you are welcome. You need to have the conversation, right? Because you're not going to get out of this easily, and easily being, just sneaking away in the night. It's just not going to serve you. So be willing to, from your side anyway, make the connection, have the conversation, and have your stuff in order so that you can separate as best you can. I know it's a potential minefield, especially if we've been together long enough, with, finances have got intermingled and all of that sort of stuff, and, all sorts of stuff, things, make it hard. But you have to honor yourself. You deserve to have a joyful life with someone who really appreciates you and is willing to grow with you. And so that's what you are choosing, and that's what you shall have if you, ask for it. So, yeah, respect him enough to be able to speak honestly. That's at the end of the day. And however he reacts, however he responds, is out of your hands. And you can't take that on board as, you can't feel guilty about that. He can have a little tantrum or a big tantrum or whatever, but, at the end of the day, staying in a relationship and sacrificing yourself in order for his comfort doesn't serve either of you. So allow yourself to upset him, because obviously that's going to be for his highest and best good in the long run. Staying in a relationship that he's not really appreciating isn't serving him. And while it's comfortable for him on an egoic level because he's, got a partner and there's that sense of stability that comes with that, if he's not really appreciating it on a proper level, on a deep level, on a soul level, then that needs to stop so that he can have a good look at himself and how he behaves in relationship and where his attitudes lie. So hard steps to take, but it's going to really serve you, Jenny. And we're holding a space of support for you. to have that conversation and to move forward, just as we're holding space for Sister Jen, also to basically drop the energy around, the recent messy sort of split up from Mike, which has sort of been an ongoing split up, but, so you can move forward. And of course, I'm also holding space for Sister Sylvie, who wrote in, about her fluctuating moods and the fact that she's gone down now, but she is doing much, much better than she has in the past, because she's bringing more awareness to that situation. And so, for myself, who, has fluctuating moods, not to the same extent that Sister Sylvie does, I understand, and mine aren't quite as predictable, but we all have high days and low days. Oh, I can see there's another comment there. You're welcome, Jenny. I don't know why that stopped self-feeding. It's very, very strange. Usually once you get to the bottom comment, the next comment will show itself. Anywho's, my friends, sort of kind of nearly out of time. I've got 3 or 4 minutes left. So I might just remind us all of the process that's really important for sustaining our confidence underneath taking these steps, underneath going through the process, because the process is going to continue, right? For all of us, we're all being given our opportunities to grow. And the point is whether we can step confidently in an empowered way into the fray, into the process, into taking responses to the process as it unfolds, as opposed to getting caught in reaction or caught in resistance to the process. So that basically, for me and for many people that I help, and many other people, of course, it's not just, this isn't brain surgery, this isn't top secret, but the foundation is to consistently connect to who you are, to consistently choose to do practices that maintain your vibration, maintain the amount of light that you're carrying. Some people call that their light quotient, but basically it's the amount of connection you have with yourself, or more accurately put, it's a measure of the amount of awareness you have of your connection, right? Because you can't lose your connection and you can't really increase your connected. You are inherently connected. We're all connected. That's not the issue. The issue is how much awareness we have of our connection, and thus how effectively our connection feeds us, how much it sustains us as the egoic personality that's always connected. But if we choose not to be aware of our connection, then our awareness doesn't really work for us, right? Because our whole world is a product of our perception, right? And I know people hear that and go, yeah, but it's true. Your whole world, your whole existence, including your connection to God Source Universe, is a function of how you perceive it, not a function of the actuality of it, right? People are actually having all sorts of experiences, but it's their perception of the experience that flavors the outcome, right? So your connection is basically a function of how aware you are that you are connected. And that level of awareness just rises as you choose to look at it, right? The more that you look at something, the more you become aware of it. So when you consistently remember that I'm connected to all that is, I'm connected to my higher self, I'm basically connected to an infinite source of light and love and energy, then it functions more for you. You actually breathe with this energy and it sustains you, and it gives you a level of foundation in confidence and beingness that allows you to then function at a higher level, that allows you to then take the courageous steps that are required, that allows you to then digest criticism from other people or other people's perceptions and projections at you, right? Because when you're really rooted and grounded in your awareness of who you really are, then all of this BS that we deal with in the personality world, the 3D world, this human construct, the illusion, the Leela, they call it in yoga, we call it the Leela, the divine play that's here. when you're aware of all of that, then it all becomes small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff, and it is all small stuff. It all becomes small stuff when your awareness is connected to or rooted in the expansive nature of who you are, right? When you realize how massive and expansive and divine you are, then all of this life stuff, relationships and finances, and even your physical health of your physical body becomes small stuff. And the point is not that you then don't do anything about this small stuff. It actually empowers you to do much more about it, because you take the stress out of it, you take the enormity out of it, and you lose this belief that you've got to be careful that you don't make a mistake, because you realize how small it all is in comparison to you, and you're just willing to step, and to take empowered actions based on the fact that you don't fear it so much. You don't fear making the mistake, you don't fear messing it up. And so that's it, my friends. It really comes down to how much you can stay connected to who you really are, how much you can maintain your awareness of that connection of who you really are. I'll try and say it in the right way. And for me personally, I do that, and I have to admit it slipped, it slipped again every half an hour or every hour, stopping and breathing and choosing to maintain and appreciate the connection that I have with the all that is, right? Appreciate what we appreciates. What we appreciate grows stronger. And so we have to be willing to do it. Hey, Sister Anna, I'm just about finished for this morning. So that's it, my friends. Maintain your connections so that you can respond to the world in the best, most appropriate way. And we've been talking a lot about relationships this morning and dealing with significant others and the contraction and the pain we feel around having to have those conversations, and the contraction and pain we feel around when they do, immature things in our face. That's just the way it is. Much love to you all. Namaste. I will speak to you again this time next week. If you have any other questions, any other concerns or complaints, feel free to pop them either in the comments to this thread. I will read them all, or reach out to me in some other way, messenger or email or whatever, right? I'm sure you can get hold of me. I don't hide. Much love. Bye for now. Take it easy. Blessings. I've got to finish, haven't I? It doesn't just turn off automatically.